Welcome to the Cognito Pod. Today we're diving into how AI is transforming the job market. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen big changes before, right?
Yeah.
Like with the steam engine. And then the internet completely changed things. And it
Yeah.
really seems like AI is shaping up to be the next huge wave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's already happening. It is not just something off in the future. AI is already reshaping what employment looks like right now. Like, take manufacturing. You've got Tesla. Their production lines are so heavily reliant on robots now.
Yep.
Or retail. Cashierless stores like Amazon Go are popping up everywhere, even customer service, something we all deal with. That's being changed by AI-powered chatbots. Like Bank of America has Erica. I'm sure a lot of listeners have probably encountered her by now.
It really is fascinating. I remember when self-checkout was like the big new thing.
Mhm.
And now there are entire stores with no cashiers at all. So what's driving this is really rapid adoption of AI in these sectors.
Well, one big thing is that AI is just really good at certain types of tasks, stuff that's repetitive or really data intensive, and especially where businesses are looking to save costs. Like data entry is a perfect example. AI can process tons of information way faster and more accurately than a person. So for a business, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's logical. But it's also kind of concerning, thinking about all the people who work in those types of roles. It seems like job losses are inevitable as AI keeps getting more sophisticated. Is there anything we could even do about that?
That's the question, isn't it? It's complex. Some experts think that focusing on reskilling programs could help, and maybe regulations too. But it's almost like we're trying to hold back this huge wave. Can we actually slow AI adoption down? Should we even try? It's a debate that's going to keep going for a while, I think.
It really does feel like we're at the start of something massive, something that's hard to contain. So maybe instead of focusing on the what-ifs, we should talk about what people can do to get ready for this AI future. What skills should people be learning to stay ahead of the curve?
Good question. I think a good place to start is to focus on things AI still has trouble with, the areas where humans are still way better, like creativity. AI can make content now, but it doesn't have that deep understanding or that originality that makes something truly creative. And then there's emotional intelligence. Therapists, counselors, social workers, they all rely on empathy, on building trust with another person, and really understanding those complex human emotions. Those are things AI just doesn't have, at least not yet.
So it's not just tech skills then. It's more about cultivating those human traits that are so hard to replicate. And what about thinking strategically? I mean, AI can analyze data, it can make predictions, but can it understand what it takes to lead or make decisions under pressure or deal with all those ambiguous situations that come up in the real world?
That's exactly it. Leaders and entrepreneurs and anyone in a strategic role, they need to be able to think critically. They have to adapt as things are always changing. And they have to make judgments based on more than data. They need intuition. And to understand that human element, that's where AI falls short.
So it sounds like it's not about competing against AI, but more about working with it, understanding what AI is good at and where human skills are still essential, and then finding ways for them to work together.
You got it. It's all about complementing each other. Like, take journalists. They could use AI for research or to analyze data, even for writing first drafts. But that human journalist, they're still crucial for crafting the story, for giving it context, for making sure it's accurate and ethical.
So AI becomes more like a tool now,
Yeah.
something that enhances what we can do and frees us up to focus on those higher level tasks, the things that really require human intelligence. That brings up another thought. What about the new fields that are emerging because of AI?
Oh, that's a great point. The rise of AI is definitely creating tons of demand for new professionals, obviously in AI development itself, but also cybersecurity is huge. And data science, even things like AI ethics. We need people to make sure this tech is being developed and used responsibly. It's kind of like when the internet took off. It created whole new industries.
So it's not all doom and gloom. While some jobs are going away, new ones are being created, requiring different skills and creating new opportunities for those who can adapt.
Absolutely. It's just like back during the Industrial Revolution. Weavers lost their jobs, but new opportunities popped up in maintaining those machines or managing the factories. And the whole textile industry was booming. The key is to be proactive, to keep learning and embrace that change. It's tough, but it also brings new possibilities.
And having a strong network helps too, right?
Well,
Having connections can open doors to new things and give you support when you're making those transitions.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a safety net, but also something to launch you forward. The more connections you have, the more likely you are to hear about cool opportunities and get guidance and support when things are changing.
It all comes down to being able to adapt and being open to new things, doesn't it? We need to be like that taxi driver who sees self-driving cars coming, and instead of fighting it, they decide to become a logistics coordinator. They see the change happening, and they adapt and find a new role in that changing world.
I love that analogy. It shows how we can navigate change as individuals, but it also makes me think about the bigger shifts we've seen throughout history, like the Industrial Revolution.
Right. Entire industries were completely transformed. New ones were created. Factories popped up everywhere. Mass production changed everything. And there was this huge shift in the workforce. It caused a lot of social and economic upheaval. But it also led to advancements that made our lives so much better.
Exactly. There were definitely some tough times and job losses, but ultimately the Industrial Revolution created more jobs and opportunities than it destroyed. So the question is, will the AI revolution follow a similar path?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And it's one that's causing a lot of debate and anxiety too, honestly.
Yeah.
People are worried about losing their jobs. And it's understandable. I mean, if AI can do all these tasks that humans used to do, what happens to the people who need those jobs to make a living? Yeah, it's a valid concern, especially when you think about how widespread this could be. We're not talking about just a few industries here. AI could potentially impact almost every part of the economy. So while it makes sense to compare this to the Industrial Revolution and how things turned out okay eventually, this feels different somehow, like it's happening so much faster and on such a bigger scale. It feels more urgent.
I get that. Technology is changing so rapidly. It can be overwhelming, for sure. But humans are pretty adaptable. We've gotten through these kinds of revolutions before. And we'll find ways to navigate this one too.
I hope so. But it's not just about individuals adapting, is it? There are bigger societal impacts to think about. If AI takes over millions of jobs, what happens to families, communities, even entire countries? What about the strain on social safety nets? Or the risk of income inequality getting even worse? And what about the countries that become the leaders in AI? Could that shift global power dynamics? There's so much to consider.
You're hitting on all the key points. This isn't just about technology, it's about people and ethics and the future of our societies. We need to have honest conversations about what could happen and work together to create a future that works for everyone, not just a small group of people.
That's a big task, but it's so important to address these challenges head on. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about one profession that always comes up in these AI conversations: software engineering. It seems like an area that's both really vulnerable to disruption from AI, but also essential for AI to keep advancing. It's kind of a paradox.
It really is. On one hand, you've got these tools like GitHub Copilot and OpenAI's Codex. They can automate a lot of the coding work, like generating code snippets or debugging or refactoring code. These tools are really powerful, and they're already changing how software is developed.
So does that mean entry-level software engineers are in trouble, the ones who focus on those more routine tasks?
Yeah, absolutely. If a machine can write basic website code or do repetitive testing more efficiently and accurately than a person, those entry-level jobs are probably going to disappear. It's classic AI, taking over the stuff that's rule-based and repetitive.
Okay, that makes sense. But there must be parts of software engineering that AI can't replace, right? Those higher-level tasks that need creativity and problem-solving, and a deep understanding of complex systems.
Of course, the more complex and nuanced the work is, the less likely it is to be fully automated. Think about things like architecting these big distributed systems, or optimizing performance for specific use cases, understanding all the security considerations, or designing user interfaces that are easy and enjoyable to use. Those are skills that need deep understanding, creativity, and serious problem-solving abilities.
And those are skills that AI hasn't really mastered yet, right? Even with all the progress in machine learning, AI still struggles with things that need abstract reasoning, understanding context, and making judgments when all the information isn't there.
Exactly. And here's the irony. The more AI advances, the more we actually need skilled software engineers to guide its development. Someone has to build those AI systems, refine them, maintain them. We need engineers who can develop those machine learning pipelines and improve how interpretable those models are, and figure out how to deploy AI systems in the real world, and make sure those systems are ethical and responsible.
So it's not that software engineering is going away. It's more like the demand for people with advanced skills is going to go up. And those who really understand AI, it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. The more AI advances, the more we need talented engineers to guide it.
Exactly. Building a simple website, that might become an automated task, but building the next generation of AI-powered tools, that's going to take human ingenuity and expertise.
So for software engineers, it's not about being safe or doomed. It's about being adaptable, those who keep learning, and focus on those higher level skills and develop a deep understanding of AI. Those are the ones who will thrive.
You got it. They need to become the architects of this AI revolution. And the ethicists, too, guiding its development and making sure it's used for good.
Speaking of ethics, it's so important to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly. We need software engineers who are not only skilled technically, but who are also aware of the ethical considerations, who can see potential biases and address privacy concerns, and make sure these AI systems align with human values.
Absolutely. It's not just about building cool tech. It's about building tech that serves humanity, that makes our lives better, and doesn't make existing inequalities worse or create new ones.
So for people who want to be software engineers, what specific skills should they focus on? We've talked about the higher level stuff like problem solving and critical thinking, but what about the technical skills?
Learning the fundamentals of AI and machine learning is crucial. Understanding how to use tools like TensorFlow and PyTorch, how to fine-tune those language models, and how to build and actually deploy AI applications.
And those soft skills we keep talking about, are those still important in a technical field like this?
They're more important than ever. Collaboration, communication, leadership, critical thinking, problem solving. All of those skills will be essential for managing teams, for understanding these complex systems, and making sure AI is developed and used responsibly.
It's a good reminder that technology is only one piece of the puzzle. We need human ingenuity, creativity, compassion to guide its development and make sure it benefits society.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The future of software engineering is bright, but it's up to software engineers to adapt and embrace the opportunities AI creates.
Okay, so we've talked about software engineering, but what about the bigger picture? What are the societal impacts we need to address to make sure this AI revolution benefits everyone?
Well, one of the biggest worries is job displacement. As AI automates more tasks, millions of people could be out of work. It's a legitimate concern, and one we need to be proactive about.
It is a scary thought, especially for those whose jobs are most at risk. What can we do to reduce that risk and make sure people aren't left behind?
Governments and organizations need to invest in reskilling and upskilling programs. People need the skills to transition to new roles and new industries. And this can't just be a one-time thing. Lifelong learning needs to become the standard.
So we need a culture of continuous learning, where people are always adapting and upgrading their skills to stay ahead of the curve.
That's it. And it's not just about technical skills either, right? We also need to focus on those human-centered skills that AI can't replicate. Creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, problem solving, communication, collaboration. Those will be the skills that set humans apart.
So it's about embracing those uniquely human qualities, the things that make us adaptable, resourceful, and able to connect with each other on a deeper level.
Absolutely. And then there's income inequality. If AI mostly benefits those who already have higher skills and education, the gap between the rich and the poor could get even wider.
That's a recipe for disaster, social unrest, instability. We need to make sure the benefits of AI are shared fairly and everyone has a chance to thrive in this new economy.
I agree. This might mean things like a universal basic income, or job guarantees, or other kinds of social safety nets, so people who are displaced by AI have support and a way forward.
It's about creating a more inclusive and just society.
Yeah.
Where everyone has the opportunity to benefit from these advancements.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of AI governance. As AI gets more powerful, we need clear ethical guidelines and regulations to make sure it's used responsibly for the good of humanity.
Who's responsible for that? Governments, tech companies, both. And how do we make sure those guidelines are applied globally and that they can actually be enforced?
That's a tough one. It's going to take collaboration between governments, industry leaders, ethicists, and society as a whole. We need to have open, honest conversations about the potential risks and benefits of AI and work together to create a future where AI empowers us, not replaces us.
So this is a call to action for all of us. We need to be informed, engaged, proactive in shaping the future of AI.
It is. The future of work is being shaped right now,
Yeah.
and it's our responsibility to make sure it's a future that works for everyone.
That's a lot to think about. But it's also incredibly exciting. We have this amazing opportunity to use this incredible technology to create a better world for ourselves and for future generations. But we have to be aware of the potential downsides and work together to make sure AI is used for good.
I couldn't agree more. It's an era of unprecedented opportunity, and we need to seize it while also being mindful of the risks.
So bringing this back to our listeners, what's the one thing you want them to take away from this conversation? What's the most important message you want to leave them with?
I'd say the most important thing is to be proactive. Don't wait for the future to just happen. Embrace lifelong learning, develop those human-centered skills, and be open to new possibilities. The future of work isn't set in stone. It's something we create.
That's a powerful message. The future is in our hands.
It is, and with the right mindset and a willingness to adapt, we can create a future where AI empowers us all.
So it's great to hear that we have some control over what happens, that the future isn't just something that's going to happen to us. But it also makes me wonder, what can people actually do to prepare? We keep talking about being adaptable and learning new things, but what does that look like in the real world?
Well, I think it starts with looking at yourself. Take stock of your skills, what you're good at, what you actually enjoy doing, and then look at your industry or other fields you're interested in. What skills are in high demand there?
So it's about knowing your strengths,
Yeah.
figuring out where you might need to learn new things, and seeing where your passions overlap with those new opportunities that are popping up.
Exactly. Once you've got a better idea of where you're starting from and where you want to go, then you can start exploring all those learning resources out there. There are so many. Online platforms like Coursera, Udemy, Khan Academy, they have courses on everything. AI and data science, business skills, leadership, creative stuff. And a lot of them are free or super cheap, so they're accessible to almost everyone.
It's amazing how much information is available these days. And what about certifications? Getting certified in a relevant field could be a good way to show employers what you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Organizations like Google AI, Microsoft Learn, AWS, they offer certifications that are recognized in the industry. It can really give you a leg up in the job market. And remember, it's not just about technical skills. Those soft skills we've been talking about are so important too, maybe even more so in this AI world.
Right, so even if you don't want to be a data scientist or an AI engineer,
Those skills like communication, collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, they can be super valuable in pretty much any field.
yeah, exactly.
And you can practice those skills in lots of ways. Join clubs, volunteer, take on leadership roles in your community, or even just be more mindful of how you interact with people every day. It's all about getting experience in those areas where AI struggles. The human stuff, like empathy and intuition and understanding how people work.
What about finding mentors, people who've already made career changes, or who know a lot about these new fields?
Mentorship can be huge. Finding someone who's been through something similar, or who can give you insights into the areas you're interested in, that can be incredibly valuable. Don't be afraid to reach out to people in your network or connect with folks online. You might be surprised how willing people are to help.
So it's about building that support system.
People who can encourage you, offer different perspectives,
Yeah.
and help you navigate all the uncertainty in the job market. That's exactly it. And I guess the most important advice I can give is be proactive and be persistent. The job market is always changing. So stay informed about what's happening, be willing to adapt, and never stop learning. It's a lifelong journey.
It's about having that growth mindset, realizing that learning never stops, and being open to new things. The skills you learn today might be outdated tomorrow, so you gotta love learning and be ready to embrace change.
I like that. And remember, it's not just about finding a job that's safe from AI. It's about finding work that has meaning for you, work that you find fulfilling, work that uses your talents and your passions.
It's about finding your place in this new world, where AI can actually help us and create opportunities we haven't even thought of yet.
That's it, with the right attitude and a commitment to always keep learning. Anyone can thrive in this AI-powered future.
Well, this has been a really insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and for giving our listeners such great advice.
My pleasure. I hope it's been helpful and that people feel more empowered to navigate all these changes.
I'm sure it has. And to our listeners, remember, the future of work isn't something to be afraid of. It's a chance to embrace new possibilities, develop new skills, and build a world that works for everyone. It's a future we create together.
Well said. We have the power to shape what comes next.
Thanks for listening to the Cognito Pod.